Hello my dear children, welcome to Learner's Planet. Children, in the previous session we discussed about force, its effect and the types of forces. And in today's session we are going to start with a new topic, that is friction. So in today's session we will discuss about friction, its advantages, its disadvantages, and we will learn somewhat about work. So children, friction is very closely related to the basic kinetic forces that is caused by a moving object rubbing against each other or rubbing against another object. Friction can be explained using shoes, like the grip in shoes, which is designed to create friction and thereby stop us from skidding around. Friction converts the energy acting upon the object to heat, which we can demonstrate by rubbing our hands together, and thereby reduces the kinetic energy, right? So after the normal force which we studied in the previous session, it's easy to follow right up with the friction force. It is really just two parts of the same interaction, but there's little difference, right? In fact, it's the best one if there are two pieces, we have two pieces of wood or two pieces of stone, so we can push them past one another, we can slide with one another, and we can see that friction, because of friction something is developing, something is produced, right? So this is about friction. So let us start with this session and learn more about friction. Yes, friction is a force that slows down moving things. We can say, for example, a girl is rolling her skates but it stops after moving a certain distance. Like when someone rides a skateboard, he or she drags a foot on the ground to slow it down, and that is why it stops after moving at a certain distance, right? So friction is actually a force that slows down the moving things. Let us understand it more clearly with one interesting example. This is one such example of a baseball ground, a baseball game. That when a baseball player runs on a base, the ground pushes against the player to slow him or her down, right? So this is an example of friction. Friction is a force that acts in the opposite direction of motion. Try to understand this, children. Friction is a force that acts in the opposite direction of motion. Means if a baseball player runs on the base, the ground is acting as an opposite force against the player. And why is it acting as the opposite force? It is acting as the opposite force to slow him or her down when he is running on the base. So you can see here that friction is a force which is acting in the opposite direction of the motion. So we can say that a baseball player runs on the base, but when he slows down, that means friction is happening because it is happening in the opposite direction of motion, right? Now, I'll ask you a question. How do your bicycle brakes work? Why might an icy road be slippery? Why it is harder to skate on grass than on concrete? Why? Have you ever gave a thought? Yes. Let us first discuss one more example before going to that examples. Because before going to those examples, yes, the grip on shoes which we discussed. The grip in shoes is designed to create friction and thereby stop us from skidding around. So you can see here, there is some grip on the shoes, right? You might have watched a soccer game, right? What happens in that? Yes. The players who are wearing the shoes are of different kind. They have grip on the shoes. Why it is designed like that? Yes, it is designed to create friction so that the players do not always keep on running, but the motion of the players which slows down after some time, after they run, it is all because of the grip on shoes. Because of that, some friction is created. Even heat is produced due to friction by rubbing our hands together. Now you might have observed that in winter season, in cold, when you feel cold, when you start shivering, what happens? Yes, heat starts producing itself right? Whenever you start shivering because of the cold weather, because you feel cold, after shivering, you feel yourselves to be warm. Why is this? Because heat is produced due to friction, right? Even rubbing our hands together produces heat. It gives us heat. There are some other examples too, like friction is what happens when any two things rub against each other. These can be solid things like our hands rubbing together, even our skis rubbing on the snow, or a hammer hitting a nail, or they can be gases like friction with the air slowing down our car, or liquids like friction with the water slowing down a boat. So studying pushes and pulls, it helps us to explore the world around us, right? Nobody completely understands what causes friction. Partly friction happens when the rough edges on one object snag on the rough edges of another object. And some of the object's energy has to be used to break off those rough edges so that the objects can keep moving, right? So always remember that once we start thinking about friction, it quickly becomes clear that there are two distinct flavors. Like there can be friction when two things are sliding past one another, and there can be friction when two things are pushing past one another, but not sliding. Let us take a common example that if I push a table a little and it doesn't move, but if I can even push it a little harder and it still doesn't move, why? Now everyone will say that friction, even though we had just said that friction only happens when something is sliding. So in both the cases, we can say that if something is sliding past one another, friction develops, friction generates, and when two things are pushing past one another, friction generates, right? Now let us discuss about this. This is a car which is running smoothly. This is a vehicle running smoothly on the road because it has smooth surface, and this road is somewhat rough. And that is why the car is not able to move properly. Why is it so? Yes, this is all because of friction. Even you can see here that a boy is riding a bicycle. He is able to ride a bicycle very smoothly. But here, a boy has to give more energy to ride a cycle, to ride a bicycle. Why? Because of the rough surface. So this is what it makes the difference. Rough and smooth. So remember, when an object moves on a surface, a force called force of friction acts between the object and the surface. And this force, the force of friction, resists the motion of an object, and the object either slows down or stops moving. So always remember that if there was no friction, anything that started moving would never stop. And if there was too much friction, nothing would move. So generally, movement across smooth surfaces produce less friction, and movement across rough surfaces produce more friction. For example, these ice cubes. For example, glass material. These are the smooth surfaces which produce less friction. But some materials like carpet, it is a rough surface which produces more friction, right? So are you able to get it? That smooth surfaces and rough surfaces also cause to have friction, less friction or more friction, right? Okay. So always remember that when we rub two soft things together like our hands, sometimes they squish into each other and get in each other's way. But even completely smooth, hard things have some friction. So this friction is the result of the molecules in both the objects being attracted to each other. We know how to make more friction or less friction, and how to predict how much friction there will be. There is more friction when the two objects are pushed together harder. So if you push your hands together, it's harder to rub them up and down. If you pull the brake lever harder, your bike will stop faster, because gravity pulls harder on things with more mass, and things with more mass have more friction and are harder to move. For example, a cube of iron will be harder to move than a cube of wood. Two solid things usually have more friction than two liquid things, or rather we can say one liquid thing and a solid thing, right? That is why you slip on a wet surface more than a dry one. If your bathroom is wet, then you will slip, right? Why? Because it is giving you a smooth surface. It is producing less friction, and that is why you slip. But if some surface is just like a dry surface or a rough surface, then more friction will be produced and you will not slip down, right? So it is all because of these smooth surfaces and rough surfaces which act on it. Now let us discuss about advantages and disadvantages of friction. Yes. So the first advantage of friction is that when we walk, we are actually pushing ourselves backwards on the ground with our feet. So friction between our feet and the ground stops us from slipping backwards. Like we discussed that a wet floor has less friction, so we will slip. But a dry floor will have more friction, so we will not slip. Right? Thus friction makes it possible for us to walk. Even we find it very hard to walk on ice or on smooth surface or on polished floor, as movement across these surfaces produce less friction, and that is why we often slip on icy ground or wet floor. So here you can observe some of the examples, like running on a treadmill, right? So there is the grip on the shoes which are designed to create friction, but treadmill is such a rough surface on which less or more friction is developed, right? A couple, they are walking on the rough surface, so it is producing more friction. That is why they will not slip. So always remember that we could not walk without the friction between our shoes and the ground. As we try to step forward, we push our foot backward. So friction holds our shoe to the ground, allowing us to walk. And rough surfaces and smooth surfaces also generate such type of friction, like less friction, and some provide more friction, right? So whenever we walk, we are actually pushing ourselves backwards on the ground with our feet. This is one such advantage of friction. The second advantage of friction is that the friction between the tires of vehicles and the road makes them roll forward. Thus, friction makes movement of vehicles possible. Even when we are driving car, what happens? Our car would not start moving if it wasn't for the friction of the tires against the street or against the road. With no friction, the tires would just spin. Likewise, we could not stop without the friction of the brakes and the tires. So always remember that it is the friction between the tires of vehicles and the road that makes them roll forward. The third advantage of friction is that friction between the chalk and the blackboard makes it possible for the teacher to write on the blackboard. How is this possible? Yes, friction between the pencil or pen and the paper makes it possible for us to write, right? Friction also helps to erase the marks, right? So it makes it possible for the teacher to write on the board, on the blackboard, because of friction. There is friction between the chalk and the blackboard, and that is why writing is possible. Even friction also helps to erase chalk marks from blackboard using a duster, right? So this is one such advantage of friction. Another advantage of friction is that we can fix nail in the wood or wall if there is friction, right? As we discussed, that it is the friction which holds the nail, and that is why we can fix nail in the wood or wall if there is friction. Even a horse can pull a cart till friction furnishes him a secure foothold. That means there is friction between the foot of the horse, the hood of the horse, and the road or the street or the grass on which the horse is actually pulling a cart. So it is the friction between the street or road or the grass and the foot of the horse, that is the hood of the horse, which makes the horse foothold secured, and that is why a horse is able to pull a cart, right? So it is because of the friction. Even the ridges in the skin of our fingers and palms enable us to grasp and hold objects due to friction, right? Can you see these examples, these pictures, right? How we are able to grasp and hold objects? Yes, it is due to the friction, right? So there are many such advantages of friction. It enables us to walk without slipping. The breakers and the tires of our cars and bicycles depend on friction to function properly. Even the ridges in our skin, in the skin of our fingers and palms, enable us to grasp and hold objects. Even to prevent the patients being uncomfortable in bed, rubber sheets with spongy under the surfaces are placed over mattresses. Nails and screws are held in wood by the friction. So there are many such advantages of friction, like we could not walk without the friction between our shoes and the ground. Like writing with a pencil also requires friction. We cannot hold a pencil in our hand without friction. It would slip out when we try to hold it to write. Even a pencil eraser uses friction to rub off mistakes written in pencil lead, right? Rubbing the eraser on the lead wears out the eraser due to friction, while the particles worn off gather up the pencil lead from the paper. There are more such advantages which you can observe in your daily life, right? But friction is not all about advantages. Friction can cause problems, or it can be a nuisance that you try to minimize. It makes movement difficult, it wastes energy, it wears the things out. So there are some disadvantages also. So let us discuss about the disadvantages of friction. Yes, the main disadvantage of friction is that it produces heat in various parts of machines. In this way, some useful energy is wasted as heat energy. So in any type of vehicle like a car, boat or an airplane or any of the part, like this is a part, this is a machine, this is a part of a vehicle. So what happens in any type of vehicle, whether it is two-wheeler or four-wheeler or a boat or airplane, excess friction means that extra fuel must be used to power the vehicle, because the vehicle doesn't ignite by itself, right? In other words, we can say that fuel or energy is used to power the vehicle. Extra fuel is used to power the vehicle. So that extra fuel or energy is being wasted because of friction, right? Fluid friction or air resistance can greatly reduce the gas mileage in an automobile industry, right? So we can conclude that the main disadvantage is that it produces heat in various parts of machines, and in this way some useful energy is wasted as heat energy. The heat produced due to friction causes damage to even machine parts such as car brakes. The second disadvantage of friction is that it makes it hard to slide heavy objects like an inclined plane, right? So it is very much difficult to slide such a heavy object. Due to friction, this is very hard, very tough to slide a heavy object. When friction causes damage to tires of vehicles, soles of our shoes, machine parts, etc. Due to friction, we have to exert more power in machines. Due to friction, our tires get damaged, the tires of vehicles get damaged, the soles of our shoes get damaged. So this is also one disadvantage of friction, right? So there are many disadvantages of friction and advantages also. Due to friction, noise is also produced in machines. Due to friction, engines of automobiles consume more fuel, which is a money loss. It opposes the motion In machines where possible, sliding friction can be replaced by rolling friction by using ball bearings. So actually we can say that friction can be reduced by changing the design of the fast moving objects, right? In some situations friction is very important and beneficial, but in some it is harmful, right? Like anytime if we want to move an object, friction can make the job more difficult. Like excess of friction can make it difficult to slide a box across the floor, to ride a bicycle or walk through deep snow. An automobile would not move forward very well unless its friction is not reduced. Oil is needed to lubricate the engine and allows its parts to move easily. So it is the oil and the ball bearings which are used in the wheels, so they turn with little friction. Otherwise, they will not be able to turn. Even there are some devices that has moving parts that can wear out rapidly due to friction. So lubrication is used not only to allow parts to move easier, but also to prevent them from wearing out. That is why you must have observed that in your cycle, sometimes the chain of your cycle is not able to move properly, and whenever you go for the repairing of cycle, what the person does? Yes, it provides lubrication. It drops the oil on the chain, and that is why it is able to move. So there are many such examples. Friction is necessary in many applications to prevent slipping or sliding, but also it can be a nuisance because it can hinder the motion. It can resist the motion. So a good compromise is necessary to get just enough friction or a proper combination of friction, and that is why we can say that friction is harmful as well as beneficial, right? So that was all about friction. Now we are going to learn about work and energy. So first of all, let us discuss about work, and in the next session we will discuss about energy, right? Okay children, so what is meant by work? When it is said that work has been done? Yes, work is said to be done when a force is applied on an object which causes it to move in the direction of force. So in everyday life we use the word work to describe a lot of activities. In science, however, the word work has a very specific meaning, right? Hence, what we can say? That work is said to be done when a force is applied on an object which causes it to move in the direction of force. And that is why we can say that work is equals to force into distance. Force means the force which is applied on an object, and distance. Why distance? Because the force with which we apply on an object to move, it will move from a certain point. Like here we will take an example, like if this is a box and you are trying to move it. Now this box was at this place. We will point it out as 0. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3. Consider this as the kilometer, the distance, right? Now this box is kept over here at 0 kilometers. Now a person is applying force on this box and he is trying to move the box, right? After some time we can see that he has moved the box to a certain distance, that is 3 kilometers, right? So he has moved the box, a boy has moved the box from 0 till 3 kilometers. So what we can say? That a work has been done because a person or a boy has applied force on the box which has moved from a certain distance to a certain point, right? So he has applied force and he has covered a distance of 3 kilometers, right? So always remember that work is equal to force into distance. So what can we say? That we can measure work by measuring how much force or energy it took to move something, just like we took an example of a box, and multiplying that by how far we moved it or how many of them we moved. Like there we took an example of one box, but if we are binding this box to a chain of number of boxes, then, and if a person is applying force, a person is applying enough force to move it from a certain distance, consider this as 0 and this as 1. So what will happen? If he is applying force and if he is able to move this box, that means there is a chain, right? So if he will move this box, that means 3 other boxes will also move with it. So he or she moves the box from a certain distance, from 0 to 1 kilometer, right? So how can we measure the work? Yes, we can measure the work by measuring how much force or energy a person has applied to move something, that means the boxes, total 4 boxes, and multiplying that by how far it moved. So we will multiply this, that how far it moved or how many of them we moved, right? So this is all about work. Work is equals to force into distance, means multiplying force with distance. That is termed as work, right? So you might think that you know what work is, like homework or having to pick up your room, but according to the scientists, work has a definite meaning. That means it takes a certain amount of energy to push or pull something to a certain distance, like pushing the plow through the fields, and it takes more energy to push it up and down, right? Activities like sleeping, thinking, reading, etc. are not considered as work in science. So what is considered as work in science? Yes, activities like playing sports, riding a horse, etc. are considered work in science. Why? Because here some object is moving, but while we are sleeping, nothing is moving. While we are thinking, nothing moves. While we are reading, nothing moves, right? And that is why it is not considered as work. But what is considered as work? Like playing sports. So we are applying force on a ball, like if we are playing basketball or a football or a volleyball, we are applying force on the ball and ball is able to swing, ball is able to move from a certain distance to certain distance, right? Even riding a horse, so it is moving up to certain distance, right? Even while playing tennis, the ball swings. Even while moving a machine, this object, a person who is moving this object, an object is moving from a certain distance. Even while playing pool, what is happening? A person is trying to apply force on this ball and the ball is able to move further, right? So there are many such examples in which we can differentiate that some activities are there which are not considered as work in science, but some activities are there in which an object is moving from a certain distance, and that is why it is considered as work in science, right? So I hope that we enjoyed today's session learning about friction, its advantages, disadvantages, and somewhat about work. So in the next session we will continue this lesson and we will learn about energy, right? Till then, keep learning, keep enjoying.